She was like, one time, please come perform, and I was like, yeah, sure, and then I just didn't turn up for ages, and yeah. This feels a bit...
every week.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It feels a bit like Trial by Peers, do you know what I mean? Like a bunch of performers all in a room watching each other perform. It's just a bit, it's a bit intimidating. Right, let's get started then, let's crack on. So, a few summers ago, I was working at a summer camp in America, and it is as corny and awkward as we've probably all been led to believe. I mean, it's a bunch of kids in a wooden cabin in the middle of the woods with a bunch of people that are considerably older than with no monitoring whatsoever. It's a bit awkward, and I was sitting there on opening day, and of course this was the summer that one of the Harry Potter books had kind of just been released, and it was released on opening day, which meant that none of the staff were doing the things that they were supposed to be doing. And if you're supposed to be setting up a tent, you're over there reading Harry Potter. I was supposed to be checking in people who are bringing their kids. I was also reading Harry Potter, and I'm sitting there and I'm reading this book and I'm thinking, you know, there's something fucking wrong with these goddamn wizards. I mean, if I was a wizard, I'd be really pumped to be a wizard. I'd wake up in the morning, and the first thing I'd do would be go, I'm a fucking wizard! Yes! And I wouldn't so much as pick my nose without using a spell. But here is Harry Potter, and he spends most of his life pretty much using no magic. I mean, over the course of the books, there are about 150 spells made reference to, and they seem to use 2 of them. They're either stunning people or taking away their wands, but all in all, it's pretty uninteresting. And as the books progress, the magic gets more interesting, but the characters get more and more boring and more and more stupid. I mean, let's take the Goblet of Fire, for example. All right, we've got a situation here where he has to fight a dragon. Now, what's the first thing that you're going to think about if you're going to fight a dragon?
It's not real.
It's not real. It was real to me at the time. It was so real to me, and I was angered and impassioned by the subject. Please don't shit on my dreams. Alright? Now, fire was the answer that I was expecting from any nice member of the audience, but we'll continue. Alright? Fire is the key danger that we encounter when it comes to dragons. Alright? But Harry Potter has somehow no understanding of how to fight fire. Now, it strikes me that this is a pretty obvious thing for us to want to combat. I mean, there are a few limitations that humans have. We can't breathe underwater, we can't fly, and we're flammable. Like, these are common dangers, right? Yet, instead of learning how to combat these things, in the first year at Hogwarts, we're learning how to turn rats into teacups. And I just think, you know, there's not much bang for the galleon, in my opinion. Right? And I don't know a lot about the subject, but instead, Harry Potter, you know, he goes into the arena, okay, and not only does he not use appropriate spells, but he has to be reminded by Hermione Granger to use his wand. I mean, you're a wizard fighting a dragon. You come in fucking wand blazing, do you know what I mean? He's running around crouching behind rocks, then he jumps on a flammable object to fight a dragon. It's stupid. It's really stupid. Anyway, it was at this point that my camp director, he comes up to me and he says, look, put that fucking book away, alright? Otherwise, you're going to be fired. And of course, I'd been sitting there, reading the book, neglecting the people that were coming in. Camp went on. Went on like this for 2 weeks. Everybody was reading the Harry Potter book, a lot of negligence. 2 weeks in, we get a bear warning. That's right. A bear warning, alright? They come up to us in the staff meeting and say, there's been bears sighted in the area, be cautious. Now what the fuck am I supposed to do with this information? Just have my kids cower in fear inside the cabin for the entire day with me saying it's going to be okay? Maybe they could write a song that they could sing while I'm getting mauled by the giant beast. I don't know. But that night, I put them to bed, I went to bed myself, and understandably was having some pretty uncomfortable dreams. And at one point, I heard sort of blood-curdling shrieks and screams coming from the cabin, and I realized I wasn't dreaming, this was actually happening. So I burst into the cabin, alright, and it's very dark, there are no lamps or electronic devices in the cabin, I can't really see what's going on, but this is what I thought I saw in front of me. A pair of wolves fighting over a corpse, blood spurting around the cabin, a large bear in the corner groaning, and then a corpse of a young child in the corner. This is what I thought I saw on entering, all right? This is what actually was happening, all right? As I shone my flashlight in each of these different things, what they really were emerged. So I pointed it at the two walls. Just two kids fighting over a duvet. No big deal, all right? I pointed up here, the blood spurting was actually a kid just projectile vomiting, so that was fine, we can deal with that, okay? Now the bear in the corner, that's just Fat George crying, no problem. Now, but the corpse was more troubling, all right? Now I look over, it wasn't a corpse, thank God, right? But it was a kid covered in feces. Just head to toe. So, there's not much training for this. I mean, perhaps for any one of these individual situations at a single point in time, it would have been much easier to deal with. In fact, altogether, it was difficult, all right? So I get my assistant counselor and I wake him up, bring him in, get him to kind of settle everybody down, but I'm going to deal with the kid covered in shit because he looks like he's going to be projectile vomiting, so I'll deal with it. I take him up, I get him showered off, I bring him back to the cabin, I sit him down on the porch. This is a key moment in this kid's life. He's either going to be traumatized for the foreseeable future, or I'm gonna nip it in the bud right here. So I launch into the story of the summer of 1997. All right, I'm at a water park in the middle of the US. Now, for those of you that don't understand, this isn't a place for swimming. It's a place for a bunch of fat white people to take their shirts off and just kind of waddle around. All right, the exercise is between the ice cream trolley and the sunbeds. Not a lot of exercises going on, but they have some pretty cool water slides. And the water slide that I particularly liked was the water slide you get to the top of it, and you do a kind of Count Dracula in his coffin pose, like this kind of thing, and you just kind of whoosh down it. It's completely straight, very fast. And I get down to the bottom, and I kind of, dislodge the swim trunks from my crack, and I'm kind of walking around, and I start to feel really uncomfortable. All right, I start to feel really uncomfortable. I need to defecate. So. But I don't know where the bathroom is. That's my trouble. I don't know where the bathroom is. So I'm kind of like, well, I'm walking around, I'm looking for this thing, and I can't really see it, and then I see it. There it is. Now, keep in mind here that I had a very Jewish upbringing. This is what I saw. A sea of sunburnt people parting before me, and a shaft of light from heaven, and angels, they were singing. The entire universe was behind me in this endeavor. I ran for the restroom, got halfway, and I cramped myself. Now, at this point, you're obviously not going to stop running, because everybody's seen you running towards the restroom. That would be an admission of guilt. So you keep going, even though you know it's going to exacerbate the issue. All right, you get into the restroom, okay, and you already have a game plan. I've shit myself. What am I going to do about it? Clean up the legs. Clean up that weird meshy basket thing that we all have in our swim trunks and nobody understands why it's there. Then deal with anything left inside my cavity. Okay, these are all the things that you're doing. But I sat down in the toilet and I examined myself and there was no trace of any poo whatsoever. It's a phantom shit situation, I mean, it's a pretty common phenomenon. I think we're all probably familiar with it. But the point is that I had no idea where this shit was. So, of course, the first thing that jumps into my mind is I've left it back on the fucking deck somewhere. So now I'm outside, I'm looking around for this thing. Is it under this deck chair? Has it been sort of distributed like poo spaghetti because it's come through the mesh like some kind of weird... I don't know. I'm fully expecting to walk across a bunch of people sort of standing in a circle, just sitting there tutting. And then I realise, why am I looking for this thing? I'm not going to claim it if I find it, all right? I've gotten away with this completely scot-free. All right, so what had actually happened was as I came down the slide, a whole bunch of water had ended up in my arse, and I just shit out water as I walked in. So anyway, I looked down at Timmy, and he's fucking traumatized. Okay, he's looking it up at me like, what in the hell? Well, how does this relate to me? The poor kid's only 7, 8 years old. He's got no idea what's just happened. I've been cursing and talking about shitting in SeaWorld, and he's got no idea. And he looks up at me. And he goes, Josh, but I didn't poo myself. It's not my poo. And I went, what? It's not your poo? And he goes, no, George shit on me. So I've just confessed this whole story to him, but another kid, look, this scares the shit out of me, guys. I don't, unintentional pun, I apologise. But the point is that, fuck, use condoms. I think that's the moral of the story here. Speaking of condoms, actually, I don't know about the rest of you, I find the purchasing of condoms to be a particularly traumatic experience. It's really, really awkward. And in fact, in the past, this led me to kind of formulate a plan that some of you in the audience have already heard. It's been developed since through trial and error. It's actually in 5 stages, and I'm going to deliver it all to you now for your enjoyment and your use, and I really hope that you find it useful in the future. All right? So stage 1 is going to be choosing where we're going to buy our condoms from. Now, Sainsbury's used to be the obvious choice, all right? Self-checkout, which of course we all know is invented for the purchasing of condoms. However, they now place the condoms in clear plastic security boxes that have to be unlocked by the manager, which means if you want to buy that condom, you have to walk through the store holding a pack of condoms in like a miniature trophy case for the whole store to examine you. I mean, that's absurd. It's meant to be a kind of confidential thing, right? So maybe Boots would be a much safer choice to go through. By the way, don't trust the free condom. I've a lot of thinking why pay for them, free clinics. I mean, look, I wouldn't trust free condoms from the Christian Student Union or one of those weird machines that you find in a bar. I'm just not going for it. I want to pay for my condoms, all right? So this is what I'm going to do. Stage 2. I'm going to enter the store, head right to the pharmaceutical aisle. I'm going to move through it. I don't know if you noticed that, but the condoms, they were on my right, all right? Now I'm going to continue moving down. Now here we have all the kind of baby care products. This is a stark reminder of what you're going to encounter should you fail. All right? Now you're going to walk around here. We're in the confectionery aisles now. We're passing the cookies. We're going to come around here. Ah, yes, so we're at the edge of the aisle. Now we're looking at the Haribo with the batteries just below them, and they're all on sale. All right? And from this point, we have a great vantage of the area selling condoms. All right? And we're going to wait as long as we have to here to wait until there's a very low density of people actually passing in front of the condoms. All right? There's not many people. Move forwards. Right? Now I'm standing here. I'm not actually in front of the condoms. Of course, I'm in front of the shampoo, all right? We don't want to make it too obvious what we're doing. If there are people passing behind you, you're going to pick up some shampoo, pretend to be reading the back of it. There's some really interesting information on the back of there, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you it's worth the read, all right? So we're going to have a little read here. We're going to be looking out of the corner of our eye. Now we have to decide what condom we want to purchase. Now here's the first dilemma. Do we want to buy American or British? All right? So Trojan or Durex? Now, I will say this. I don't trust a brand of condom called Trojan. Let's just examine our Greek mythology from school, shall we? The Trojan horse. This is a man-made object containing semen that penetrates the gate of the city. And then, in the night, disperses those semen throughout the city, and they proceed to rape and pillage. Now, if we take this into the context of the condom, it sends mixed messages to me. I'll stick with Durex. Now, it's at this point, okay, that a large Swedish man called Sven is going to come up, and he's going to grab the Magnum XLs, okay? Now, let's take into consideration at this point that you might be a woman buying condoms because your man's too much of a coward to get them, okay? Women, ignore Sven. He probably has a tiny penis. Your man's waiting for you outside the store. Stay focused. Men, again, he's panic buying. Just don't worry about it. Concentrate on what you're doing. Next stage, camouflage. We're going to go over to the magazine aisle. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to pick something out. We've got to be careful. You want to just grab the first thing, get up to the checkout desk and realize that you've got condoms and Dora the Explorer. It's going to send the wrong message. Be careful about what you pick. And actually, speaking of magazines, just a quick aside, I mean, these magazines, like a lot of these, like Cosmo, for example. I read something in Cosmo the other day that male ejaculatory fluid is good for skin. It reduces wrinkles and aging. And I was trying to understand the kind of backstory to this. And I saw that the author was apparently a woman. And I said, well, look, either a man's written this under a female name, or this is what happened. And I'll lay out the scenario for you quickly. Here's a man about to ejaculate on his girlfriend's face. He's gearing up, okay? And she says, oh God, not on my face. And he says, it's good for your skin. And she goes, fucking cover me in it. Next day, she goes to work at the Cosmo Writers area. And she's talking to all her friends. She's made the best discovery ever. Reduce wrinkles, reduce aging, and please your man. Head editor comes over. This story has to be out tomorrow, but we need confirmation. So she calls her boyfriend, she gets confirmation. She prints the article the next day, and then it's in the magazine. And, that's how I think it went anyway. Anyway, let's get back to it. We need to buy these condoms. What are we going to do? What we're going to do is we're going to look for somebody of the same sex as us. If you're a man, you're a man. If you're a woman, you're looking for a woman. All right? And if you can't find someone of the same sex, you're going to place the condoms down in the nearest available space and just leave the store. All right? It's just not worth the trouble. However, if you do need to succeed in this endeavor, here's a quick final tip. Maintain 90-degree angles from the person you're buying it from. All right? This will make it hard for them to talk to you and identify you in the future. Stage 2, pay with cash so that you're not delayed. Stage 3, double bag so that the Durex logo doesn't show through the plastic. Leave the store. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I'm Rosenberg.